Brian, when you have a trust, you obviously need a trustee. Can you define what the trustee does?
Yeah, with a irrevocable trust, the trustee is the person in charge. You've set up a trust for various reasons. Sometimes they're set up upon your passing, so you're not around anymore, or your disability, or some other reason. Sometimes not, but that is the person in charge. And so the selection of that trustee is very important. So let's say, for example, you have a revocable living trust, and in that you pass away, and in that you have a provision to set up an irrevocable family trust. And you think, well, okay, I'll just name my oldest son as a trustee. Well, maybe your oldest son isn't experienced being a trustee. Probably not. Your oldest son is going to have to be in charge of filing the tax returns and securing and selling the property and maintaining it, communication with other heirs, figuring out who gets what and when and so forth. And very, very often when a family member is put in charge of something like this, gosh, they could be getting along their whole life, but when money's involved and dad's not there or mom's not there anymore, the stuff hits the fan. And so some bad things happen. I think we all know situations where families have just gone into disarray upon a passing of somebody, even if it's in trust, because you left all that decision making to a family member, and now they become the bad guy going forward.
So that's a disadvantage of using a family member as a trustee. As you said, there could be a lot of conflicts there. Do you just have one trustee, or could you have co-trustees?
You could have co-trustees, but again, that's just two people that are the bad guy often, and so that can be a problem. And what if you don't agree? Now you've got to have ways to break that tie. And I'm not saying not to have family members as trustees. I'm just saying be very careful. Don't just assume that that's going to work out. Maybe you have a sibling, but I've seen trustees named of people that are in their late 80s with dementia, and they're still named as trustee. Okay, you got to have contingent trustees named too, so someone else, if they can't do it, then someone else would be in charge. But it's a very complicated thing, and I haven't met a lot of people that, I was a trustee or executor, and boy, that was such a wonderful experience, even better than going to Hawaii. You just never hear that. You usually hear the exact opposite. It was the worst thing I've ever done. I'll never do that again. Kind of like maybe building your own house or something like that. So a lot of people tried it, but maybe that's not their wheelhouse.
If you did not want to select a family member as a trustee, is there an alternative?
Oh yeah. So one of the alternatives, you can hire a corporate trustee, but very often that can be very expensive and impersonal. And so large banks can offer that service. We happen to be a shareholder with a trust company, 50-state licensed trust company, and they have a program which I think is dynamite, where they can be kind of the bad guy and do all this technical stuff as the corporate trustee. They charge a very low fee to do that relative to others that do trust services. They engage the financial advisor, us, into the process. They also have a family member as part of that, call it management team. And so the family member knows the family dynamics. But when a family member has a problem with a decision, they go to that family member and say, hey, why'd you do this? And the family member can say, I'm not in charge. Go talk to the corporate trustee. And so they don't have to take the heat on anything that's unpopular. And so it's kind of a nice way to get the best solution. Maybe the financial advisor knows about the money, knows about the grantor of the trust, the person that set it up originally, what their wishes were. The family member understands family dynamics. You got someone else doing all the hard nitty-gritty work, the trust company. So together you've got a group that can accomplish this and hopefully not have the family dynamics blow up the family someday.
If someone does not have any family and they need a trustee, could they just use this corporate trustee model without a family member?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes, absolutely could. And that does happen too. Whether it's a charitable trust, a charitable foundation, maybe something's going to outlive them if they don't really have any heirs or family members. But certainly they could have, maybe they have family, but it's not close family, and they just don't want, maybe it's just nieces and nephews or whatever, and they want the money held in trust, perhaps generationally. You can do that with a corporate trustee.
Brian, thanks for telling us about how to pick a trustee for your trust.